Dungeon
work
Doom
today.
Hands,
I got
Let's
stuck in
Talk
my elevator.
Lore, a podcast.
And
that sucks.
yeah, it was all right. It
Sucks.
was okay. Welcome back to Let's Talk Lore. I'm Spencer, and this is Chris. Keep pointing to the wrong side. And right now, this topic at hand, we are going to be discussing how to run and DM your big bad, whatever it is, whoever it is, your leader bad guy. So, Chris, why don't you?
Well,
You're the one who picked this topic.
The one thing I wanted to talk about with you is the structure, like the organizational structure of your bad guy, and how involved you want your bad guy with the characters. So the idea of like you have your bad guys, their lieutenants, and then mini bosses and minions, and like a business structure. Or you could have, say, your big dragon or your big monster that comes in and they see mainly that big monster all the time. So far in the game, we've seen Doomhand a number of times, who is the big man as far as
Right.
we understand him. And we have seen, what's his name? Stag's brother,
Fawn.
That was the only real
Yeah, we haven't
lieutenant that we've
right.
faced. So my question to you is how do you choose when to bring your big boss in and when to use a face for them, like a lieutenant or someone else representing them, a representative?
Well, let's take the Kraken, for example. His lieutenant was the Kraken Priest. And he washed up onto your boat and he said, okay, you have 8 days, right? Or give me all your stuff, or he's going to come. Wakapokoka, whatever his name was. Yeah. Aga Lopoka. Anyway. And then, he sort of disappears or goes back. You guys push him out. I forgot what exactly happened, but so like the lieutenants are good for like little introductory. They'll probably die. Lieutenants will probably end up getting killed.
That's why they're there.
Right. You can. I don't know. It's a good question because I didn't realize this topic was going to be more of like the power structure of the like your organization, like the mafia. You got your Tony Soprano, you got your Silvio. My guy right now is sort of a lone wolf. I feel like he doesn't have that many lieutenants, and the ones that he does have, he's corrupted in some way, or they're doing it because of So there's a little bit of like a role play scenario where it's possible that you could, instead of killing the lieutenants, ask them what's happening. No one did that for Fawn, but Fawn was sort of manipulated by him into stealing from people in the forest. But I don't know. It's a good world building situation because also you don't really know when you're gonna. I mean, if you're playing your homebrew campaign like we are, you're gonna be all over the place. So these lieutenants can come in at any point in time. Do you have any examples from your games of like a good lieutenant boss?
Well, the one campaign that we're playing now is Tyranny of Dragons. So you have the cult, and they have their main people, and then they have the people below them, but there's still a little hierarchy, and you're sort of go up against like one little mini boss at a time before I think eventually, I haven't read the rest of the campaign. I'm assuming that we go and fight Tiamat. That's just my assumption based on the cover art and everything else. I wanted to have it all be a surprise. But that's the idea of like, you have and that's the way a lot of WotC adventures are, or a lot of published adventures. It feels like you have your big boss that sort of sits in the back, and you have to fight through the layers of people below him, and then at the end, you're big and strong enough, and only he's going to be able to stop you.
Right.
Ideally, and then everyone kills them.
So So like how long is this, like a one off, or is this like a multiple
No, this
session?
is well, it's a went from I think level 3 to 8, 7 right now. So it's been months
Yeah.
of weekly sessions.
So
So,
I think probably the way that I would sort of the way I always like, if I don't know exactly what to do, I always base it off sort of like a video game type thing. Okay, so you're going to get to a
mm,
specific area and they're going to have this particular problem, or there's going to be a couple, game hooks that sort of all lead towards a general location or a general
mm,
villain of some kind, and maybe you fight him and find out that he's actually employed by a different main bad guy, or
hmm
perhaps you witness him doing something destructive and disappears, or you heard a story. um when it comes to like playing them though, so like you can world build them, and I love that. So like, in my world, I've tried to sort of, you have your sages, and he's hunting the
mm,
sages, so you sort of
right.
know where the big bad guy is going, um, based on how many sages are left. And it's gonna be
Yeah.
very interesting when there's only one sage left. It's gonna be pretty
hmm
pretty baller. Um, but there's like world building opportunities. But how would you like in when you're playing the big bad? I had an issue with Fawn where I didn't I didn't know as to whether or not I was doing a good job with the boss. So I just like randomly incorporated like the fire elements in that one.
hmm
I should have probably with the Kraken. I should have probably done with which I was about to suggest more of the when you get closer to the bosses, um, your layer effects really, really kick in and make it a little bit more engaging for the players. I feel like if I had done that just a little bit more with the Kraken, it would have been a little bit, you know, a little
I
bit
think
more.
we're all pretty terrified of the Kraken.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
I
we
mean,
hunkered down on like the most sacred space we could find in the entire ocean.
yeah. But like role playing your big boss, that's all. That's sort of like that's your job.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. There's no particular way to do it, but an easy way to do it, to is to build up to it. So like with the Kraken, okay, you have 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
The Kraken can't really get on land, and if it is, it's not going to be very long lived. I don't even think they can really. Um, so you have 8 days. You're at sea. Like you have no idea where in the sea you are to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Or the big bad's going to show up. Or Fawn, like you guys sort of you didn't even have to fight him. You chose to go fight him, which was
Oh yeah.
cool. Oh, and here's another one. So for the Were Farm, this was the other big bad. He was too strong. He was way overpowering, so I just dumbed him down way much. But so like you guys exited the Artemisine forest, and you knew the forest was corrupted by lycanthropy. I
Mm-hmm.
try to drop little hints lycanthropy throughout the whole thing, and you get to this Were Farm. Obviously, Were Farm, the animals when you killed them turned into
Yeah.
goblins, and it just so happens that the goblins were actually good guys. Surprisingly, not bad guys. We had good goblins this
Mm-hmm.
time, but the Were Farmer was nowhere to be found. So then you guys met Gabriella, and she was trying to find Tolan, the Were Farmer. It's like, where is this guy? And you rescued her from a couple of these weird bad guys, and then you guys solved the puzzle and opened the door and went down the hatch, and there Tolan was in a Were Hydra form, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you killed the Hydra to find that Tolan was actually, you know. So there's like the world building in that sense, how to play your big bads. Pretty.
R.I.P. Arena, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. I think the bad guys, it's nice to have like a little build up. So like I don't know exactly how to do that. Maybe I'll try it out with the lieutenants. Um, but my bad guy is sort of like a lone wolf. So there isn't really that many lieutenants he has. I should certainly try it. That would be pretty sick.
Well, the other thing you mentioned video games, and I know you love to incorporate Zelda and everything.
In literally
And
life too. Yeah.
yeah, for me, when I play the Zelda games, it feels like I'm just on the trail of the bad guy. I don't want to spoil anything. The bad guy who's always um, corrupting the area, and like you're just tracking behind, and so it's like the biggest person that he corrupted in each region acts as its own mini boss, like Fawn. Like they found someone in there to lift him up to work for them as they're leaving to go do something else, so they're not there. But that's the next biggest thing is their latest um, conquest
Right.
for the region.
And I feel like in a world building aspect, the closer you get to well, it depends on what type of boss it is, but the closer you get to the region that he's in, maybe people are more, you know, maybe there's more lieutenants, or maybe like in the Mind Flayer, like you guys are going to you guys went into the Mind Flayer dungeon, like okay, maybe you start out and like your elder brain in there is going to be sort of 50% wanting to kill you, 50% wanting to protect itself, get out of there. So of course you're going to have intellect devourers up front. Of course you're going to have a horde of them before you even see a Mind Flayer. And then things die down, you get a little puzzles and some traps, and all of a sudden there's a Mind Flayer or maybe two. And then you somehow slaughter him because the DM's nice and didn't want to, kill everyone. And then you find the Elder Brain, those particular types of lieutenants, that's a hierarchy a nice structure. Maybe that's how you should frame your next go-to. And if you're doing like an evil like human or an evil vampire, maybe you have like sort of, like your pirates versus your captain, and like that's how
guy.
Yes. Or like
your
intellect
captain,
devourer,
then you have your cook, and then your regular crewman.
Yeah, or like your intellect devourer would be like if you're in a dungeon with a big dragon. I don't even know what that would. It also depends on the bad guy. A big dragon probably wouldn't have a lieutenant.
Yeah, might have some worshippers or peasants or servants.
I have a request.
Or it might be a very intelligent dragon who has infiltrated a society or created a business empire or something else.
I'd like to give you so the next, how we always say about these chapters in Agoth Doomhand and the Skulls of Power is usually about 6 to 8 sessions.
Yeah.
We are right now going to be in session 4 on Monday of Trigard.
But we now have a way of quick traveling around.
It's true.
The city. So I think
huge.
It's going to go a lot quicker.
Yeah. So the next time we have a session where your forever DM, who hasn't taken a break in 2 years, I keep talking about vampires and stuff. Are you good at running vampires? Is that like
I can be.
Yeah, well.
That could be the mountains.
Whatever.
Well, I'm just thinking of Trigard where we are.
Mm-hmm.
No one goes up there. Everyone's afraid of them.
Right. Well, they have a
vampires.
Trigard
up there.
Yeah, Trigard they do have settlements for trading. It is the largest trade port in the realm. And how do they get that? Well, they have their own stations and trade ports, old and new. Perhaps there's an issue and they've lost contact with their red mountain,
So what you're saying is you want to be a player for a little snippet while I terrorize everyone with vampires?
Yeah, it'd be sick. And
so then you have vampires are a great hierarchical structure for their bad guy. You're gonna have your big bad guy and then some of the first people that he turned, and then all of those people spawn.
So think.
Nice.
I guess think like not necessarily Blade 1, but think Blade 2.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Where
All right, this is
where those little guys in the first series, they get a little bit of pride about them. They feel like they can start building on their own.
yeah. I mean, listen, big bad guys don't necessarily like. It doesn't make sense to have a hierarchy and organization if they don't need one. Like Beholder,
Mhm.
not going to need one. Mind Flayer, definitely going to have one.
Yeah.
You know, a wizard, probably not. Like a crazy wizard, probably not. Maybe, and if he does, it's
Crazy,
probably like
maybe
maybe
one
like a
guy,
summon. Maybe yeah. Like a
one very
like an
very
Igor,
important person.
like an
Yeah.
Igor, like an Igor versus your Frankenstein type thing.
Fine.
Um,
Yeah.
or like but like obviously pirates and crooks and cults are going to would be huge, would have a huge organization. And we're actually going through that right now, with these religious buildings and
Mhm.
areas. So that's a good thing to keep track of, and a good topic. But why don't we circle back in like a month or two with this topic, and we'll run through how you ran your vampires, because that is going to
Yeah.
be that's going to
Yeah.
be sick.
That'll be fun.
Now I just got to get it out. I'm going to be like, what bit? You know what I'm going to do? Because I am going to be a barbarian. I'm going to be like, what bit this guy? But maybe your vampires don't bite necks. Maybe they only bite,
Right.
heels.
We'll save that for
A good investigation
reveal.
check. Yeah, a good investigation check. All right. Well, I mean, that was a pretty good. I'm not 100% sure if we hit it out of the park, but I will tell you this: I now know a little bit
We
more about running large
we
factions.
brainstormed how
Oh
to
yeah,
structure our evil organization.
for sure. And again, if you don't need one, you don't need one. But if I was a big bad guy, I would be like, hey, Chris, would you like to be a medium bad guy? You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And those
Yeah.
those guys can die.
Thanks.
Just
Thanks.
kidding. Just
Thank
kidding.
you.
Roll high and subscribe. And when we return, who are we building? Our weekly NPC build.
We're building Gabriella.
Oh yeah, a little lore action before we build too, so we have to
Oh
discuss
yes, definitely.
her story. And this was
Mhm.
ode to the Green Sage, I guess. So we'll
Mhm.
be back in a moment.